So the big question is this: how do most agents who struggle to get the information that most successful agents hoard to themselves grow and prosper without this information? That's the big question, and this video cast is the answer. Welcome to Real Estate Rockstars. I'm your host, Pat Hassman. And now, for the review of the day. Real Estate in the Real World, 5 stars by John Wervin. I've been listening to Pat Hassman's Real Estate Rockstars for a little over a year. What an experience it has been. Being in the real estate industry myself, it has been a huge weight off my shoulders to know that Pat and his excellent guests share strategies, knowledge, and real-life success stories. If you're an agent, investor, or anyone interested in being in the real estate industry, or you're just plain curious about what real estate life for brokers and agents is like, go listen to this podcast and become successful. I highly recommend you listen. It has changed the way I do business for the better. 5 stars. Thank you, John. Keep the comments coming, guys. I love them. And remember, I eat feedback for breakfast. So give me a 1-star review if you want, or a 5-star review if you want. I don't care. And the more reviews we get, the better guests we get. So please, subscribe first, and then leave us a review or wherever you're listening. All right, Rockstar Nation, I got a super inspirational guest for you today, Mr. Tyler Hassman from Saskatchewan, and I'm going to have him fix that because I don't know how the hell to say it, somewhere out in Canada. And he is, man, if there's anybody that can get you inspired about owning real estate in addition to selling real estate, it's going to be Tyler, because at an extremely young age, he started his course to real estate moguldom. And some people said he's a mogul at 18. Now he's 21, and he is still crushing it in the investing field. And a couple people reached out and said, you got to get Tyler on the show. It's a great story. So without further ado, Tyler, welcome to the Real Estate Rockstars.
Thank you so much for having me, Pat. And it's Saskatchewan.
Thanks. I think I was close.
Yeah.
So tell everybody about yourself, T.
So a little bit about myself. I'm 21 years old from up north in Canada, born and raised in a small town called Pilot Butte. Right now it's got about maybe 2,000 people in it. When I was growing up, maybe only had 1,000. So, that's where I live, small town. A lot of farming's going on up here, tons of farming, but it's a super growing province. So it's absolutely awesome. But yeah, like you mentioned, I got into real estate when I was just about turn 18. So I've been at it for about 2.5 years. I'm 21 now, and the journey, it's quite crazy because, if I've only been in it for 2.5 years, but from the experiences and to where I was 2.5 years ago to now, it makes it feel like I've been in it for 20 years, to be completely honest with you.
I mean, there's some people listening to this being like, got their real estate license 2.5 years ago and are just now getting their business cards made, so they think, 2.5 years takes a long time, as a short amount of period of time. So what kind of real estate have you amassed in that 2.5 year period?
Yeah, so it has all been multifamily apartment buildings. So it's all been commercial, residential commercial. And we just started doing a flip as well. I mean, we do a lot of stuff now.
Like how many apartment buildings do you have?
We have 7 buildings, 86 total units.
Okay.
And so here's the thing that happened. I'll tell you the quick story on that. So
yeah, please break it down.
The first building, it's a brand new building, 12-unit building, and the owners, the previous owners, they built it to sell it as condos. And it's not in a selling market where it was. It's in a mining district. A bunch of potash mines are out there. So the rental market's insane. These guys are trying to sell it. And then they couldn't sell them, so then they tried renting them out. But they're in a totally different province. They're from Alberta. They didn't know what they were doing. They couldn't get anybody in there. So then we ended up hearing about it, went in, made the offer, got it accepted, took that over, and that was the first building. And then there was a ripple effect. So we got our first building, and we're all, I'm just
So wait a minute,
celebrating.
let me slow this down, right? Okay, so
Yeah.
let's paint this picture. Did you graduate high school?
Yes. So this was a year and a half after graduating high school.
You graduated a little early or something?
No, because I was here in Canada. I graduated when I was like right when I was like 17.
Okay, so you graduated high school 17, and then you are doing what? Like to earn money?
Oh yeah. So
Or
let me
did you go ahead?
Yeah, so let me tell you that. So actually, it's funny because I skipped grade 6, like super genius, right? And then once high school hit, I found out about this thing called entrepreneurship and business. So, and the school I went to is a small high school, and they didn't offer any entrepreneurship or business classes. So I just completely said, like, I hate school. I'm not listening to anything. I couldn't pay attention in math class when they're trying to tell me, figure out what x equals or figure out what the circumference of this is or what. I'm like, I don't care. What does this have to do with anything? I want to make money. So
Right.
I failed a lot of classes, barely graduated high school. So I went from straight A's to straight D's, straight F's, and it was horrible. And a lot of people were worried about me, but I wasn't worried. So I'm like, I'm going to make that money. And right out of high school, didn't go to university or college. There's no way I could get into any of them. So then I was like, I want to be a businessman and I want to wear suits. So I went to a suit store and worked there getting minimum wage. It was like $10 or maybe $11 an hour. Worked there full time just because I got to wear suits and got to know about fashion. And then after that, for 2 months, I worked there. And then I went to their Mercedes-Benz dealership because they were hiring for a lot boy to run around cars and like wash the cars up for the sales guys and bring them up to the front and basically be the sales guy's assistants. And I was like, you know what, I'll do it. So I did that for about 4 or 5 months. And then my opportunity came where they then fired the one salesman. And I was like, now's my time to shine. So I went in, I went into the office of the manager. I'm like, you got to put me in. I've been studying the cars. I've been working here for a few months already. And they ended up putting me in. So I was 17, selling cars to some of the wealthiest people in the city and in the province. And I got to grow a lot personally. I got to learn a lot in sales and learn a lot about business. And, a year after that, so I was working there for a year and I was about 18 and a half at this time. That's when we then got the first building. And once I got that first building, I stayed at my job for probably another month and then left.
Okay, so let's stop here again. So,
yeah.
Okay, so here you're a 17-year-old car salesman, right? And you do it. Obviously, I think I agree with you. I think it's a great, any type of sales is an incredible learning experience for anybody because it reinforces the power of entrepreneurship, and it did for me at about 20 years old. I got like my first real sales job, and I was able to make 3-4 times as much as I could with an hourly rate, right? Selling things. And I'm like, wow, well, why would anybody get paid an hourly rate? And I never went back, right? Once I got the taste of a commission, I never went back to an hourly rate again and ever, right? My whole entire life. So you got that taste. You started making bucks selling cars. How did you go to buy an apartment building? Did you save up the down payment? Was it someone else's money? Give me like meat and potatoes that a third grader can understand so that if someone's listening to this, they want to go out and buy an apartment building tomorrow as well. How can they do it?
Yes, I'm glad you asked me that. And it's funny because usually when people ask me how, they usually say they think of 3 things right away. Number 1 is I'm a drug dealer and I just put all my cash into it. The second one is that I've got a loaded family and I got a huge trust fund. That's the second thing they think. And neither of those are true. The number one thing, the thing that I did is I used other people's money. And
so let's stop there. So so you're 18 years old, and how much was this apartment building, first of all?
$1.525 million.
All right, so $1.5 million, right? You're 18 years old. They obviously can't do it as condos, right? They were going to sell them as condos and it flopped. So it's kind of a, let's just say undesirable, right? Because if people aren't buying them, they've probably got more money into this thing, right? Than it's worth. I don't know. So tell me the whole story behind that. How did you find people to fund $1.5 million? Did you get a loan? And, how did you get the seller to come off his mental high horse of thinking it was worth so much more?
Oh yeah. So what we did is, I went in and then we actually got it sent to us from one of the people in our real estate group because I'm always a part of a real estate group. You know what I mean? With other real estate entrepreneurs, investors, part of a good
Just
network.
like a club, right? Like
Yes,
where you talk
exactly.
about stuff. Okay,
Exactly,
keep
right?
going. So you
And then,
joined the club. You joined the
yes,
real,
join the
even though you
club.
were in the cars, you joined
Yeah,
the real estate club, said, I kind of like real estate because it's bigger than cars.
absolutely. And then what happened was then one of the people sent me this deal. And then I'm looking at it, and then, they wanted 1.525. Like, that's what the seller wanted. Because the seller, even though they were like doing really bad, they're the ones that built the building. So their overall cost was only like, with land, was like 1.2 million. So it really wasn't too bad. And they're a big company, right? So they wanted 1.525. And then I was like, I don't know. And I looked at the appraisal. The appraisal is at 1.7. And it's a brand new building. And I look at it, and the only issue is that there's no tenants. And there was like 3 or 4 tenants at $800, and the rent should be at $1,200. And I knew that if we furnished some of the units, we can get double that because that's just what the market allows for. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do that. I know I can do that.
Was it near a school or something? Why would someone rent a furnished apartment?
So it's in a town of about 2,000 people only in Saskatchewan. Like if you went there, you'd be like, oh my God,
And there's a
what is.
market that people don't have furniture.
Well, here's the thing. There's a potash mine 20 minutes north. It's actually North America's largest potash mine. Actually, the world's
What is
largest.
potash?
Potash, they use it for like fertilizer, for like farming and
And
all
people
that kind of
come
stuff.
in for like short stints or like year stints where
Yeah,
they
so
have another house or something.
yes, so like all these people that come in, they fly them from all over the country and they work here for years, but they work shift work where it's 2 weeks on, 1 week off. So that week off, they actually fly home to wherever they are. And at this mine, it's crazy. The mine there in Rocanville is what the town's called. It has over 1,000 people working at it. So it
So
actually has.
they were actually the strategy was wrong from the beginning from the developer, right?
Yes.
Instead of trying to sell them to people that can afford to buy them, which obviously there was zero of those.
Yes.
He should have been thinking about the mine and say
Yes.
maybe if we turn it into furnished rentals. Okay, so keep going about how you bought it.
Yeah. So what the next step was obviously was being like, okay, let me get the projections. So I started actually putting out an ad already on online saying, hey, for rent, furnished units, and started doing that already. So I knew there was the market. Started
Well,
getting
you tested it.
inquiries.
You
Yes,
tested it
exactly.
before you put your money down.
Exactly. And then
And
it
you
was
had a
funny.
bunch of people calling saying, "Hey, I work at the mine. I'd
Yes.
love a furnished apartment."
Yes. And I made sure to keep my mouth shut to the seller about that. I didn't let them know anything. So anyways, so then that started working out. And then got the deal under contract. Obviously, I said, yeah, we need to take it. We need to take it. And then after that, I did up a summary. I got a business partner as well, Bailey. So we did up a summary and we put, a nice picture of it because it's brand new. We put like, hey, this is where it's at right now. And I just basically what I told you, I put on a piece of paper, projected the returns, and we structured it as a joint venture with our partners where we went and we said, talk to our mortgage broker and found out what we can get a loan for. So we need to come up with, I think it was 17% down only. So I think it was 300 and something thousand, and then closing costs. So we ended up raising $400,000, to put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And then we gave up 40% of the deal for that 400. And then I structured it to be like, okay, so they have this ownership, 40% ownership for 400,000, and I'm going to pay them back over 3 to 4 years through cash flow. And then they're gonna have their 400,000, their full investment back, but they still are gonna keep their 40% ownership. So then in year 4, 5, or 6, depending how quick I pay them back, they're gonna start actually seeing the return on their investment because it's back in their pocket, and then their investment's gonna become infinite because the next 5 years,
Right.
remortgage, it's already
4
back in their
years, they got
pocket.
100% return.
Exactly. So that's what we structured, and then it worked because people were like, "Yes, we see it, we see
So
it."
far, it's only
Exactly.
been 2 years.
So far, exactly. So we're
Right?
halfway.
So they've
We're
gotten half
halfway.
back, right?
Yes.
They've already gotten a 50% return. Okay, for 2 years, 25% a year,
Yeah.
which is a great return in and of itself. Even if it stopped today,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and dropped down to 5 or 10, it would still be a great
Yeah.
investment for them. Okay, so you did that.
Yeah.
You showed them how it worked. Who had to sign for the loan, or did anybody?
It's So this is the best part. At this point in my life, I didn't even have a credit card. I had zero credit. I didn't even have a Netflix. I couldn't even get a Netflix.
Damn.
I didn't have anything. So that's something we're worried about. But when we signed for the mortgage, is that when we are with our partners, we are all in it together. So they are also.
So they
signed as
so
well.
there's recourse there on them. If this thing screws up, the bank could come back against them.
Exactly.
Well, they deserve 100% for that, because most of these investment deals that doesn't happen. It's like you could lose your capital, but that's about it. So that's okay. So that's good. Yeah. So they had to sign on the mortgage with you, but they got 10% of the deal too. Each or 40%, and
yep.
A lot of these other places are well, they'll actually give them. You kept 60. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting way to structure it. So, okay, so you did that one, and then so how'd you do the next one?
Well, it's funny because the next one was at the same, like it was 15 minutes north of this town, and it was where the actual potash mine was, and there was 2 brand new buildings, the same buildings, but 2 of them, another couple 12 units, so 24 units, and it was from the same sellers. And like, hey, you close on that first one, we're not even going to list these other ones. We'll give you first dibs. And right away, we're like, let's do it. And then everybody already knew about what was going on with our other one. And we created like a frenzy where people are like, yes, we want to be on that as well. So we did the same exact thing. But this one here, it had only 3 out of 24 tenants when we moved in. And it took like longer than expected to fill it. So it was really, really scary to take that over. But I mean, it took us about 4 months. Then we finally got to like 17 tenants. And then we slowly got to full buildings. So
I mean, your perception of slow is probably really fast to most people. 17 tenants in 4 months. I mean, 80s. So how many of these buildings did you say you have now?
7.
7, and all for potash miners.
Yes. Yeah. All in they're different markets. Most definitely like different markets, but it's all in the southeastern part of Saskatchewan in the mining district.
Oh, yeah, and all furnished.
Probably about 65% furnished. Because we do have a good market too of old folks and like some long-term people that work at the hospitals, doctors and stuff. But the majority, like I'd probably say that the 65% is all potash. Absolutely.
Want to save over 87% on all 12 of our 5-star rated real estate sales training courses at Rebus University? This is an opportunity that doesn't come around often, but for a limited time only, you can get instant access to all 12 of our courses all at once. Yeah, all 12 of the courses valued at over $10,000 for only $197 a month when you take action right now. Plus, I'm going to throw in a 12-month membership to Big Profit Agents, a $564 value, absolutely free. Not only will you save $1,200 a year, $100 a month, off our already heavily discounted All Access Pass, but you'll lock in this price for life. And remember, you can cancel anytime, and there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. Listing agent, buyer agent, leads bundle, Facebook ads, team agent, real estate mogul, and so much more. Access every single 5-star course that I just mentioned instantly with your first payment of $197. Visit rebusuniversity.com. Under the courses tab, choose All Access, and then use the coupon code HYBEN and save $100 a month for life. You can also text HYBEN to 345-345. That's HYBEN to 345-345, and I'll send you over the URL for your smartphone. Act now because there are a limited number of these coupons available. rebusuniversity.com, choose All Access, and use the coupon code HYBEN. Or text the word HYBEN to 345-345. So you found, rather than thinking your competition is, newlywed couples with babies who are going to rent apartment buildings, you were really competing with hotels, right? I guess a lot of these minors were probably staying in hotels, and they figured, hey, I can get my own apartment for the same or cheaper and have furniture and a kitchen and everything else.
Yeah, and listen to this. These hotels out there where all these guys are staying, it's 3,500 to 5,500 a month. And we have brand new 2-bedroom, in-suite, laundry, balcony, everything. They're beautiful condos for like 1,600, 1,700. And the guys, a lot of these guys at the mines, they're getting paid anywhere from 2 to 3 to 4,000 living allowance per month. That's not even tax free, everything. So, a lot of these guys, the one thing we actually did, we actually got in a little bit of trouble. We went to all the major hotels in the area and we put a bunch of like postcards saying, hey, for rent, $1,600, fully furnished, and pictures. And we put them in all the workers' windshields under their wipers in the parking lot in all the hotels. And we put them everywhere. We threw these cards around. We're getting calls like crazy. And the hotel managers did not, until we got a call from the hotel manager. And I'm like, oh, you looking for a place to rent? And he's like, I'm the hotel manager. And just went off on me. And I just hung up the phone. I'm like, whoops. So, we did what we had to do.
Yeah, that's interesting because I'm sure you probably ruined their business. I mean,
Yeah.
it is what it is. But hey, that's capitalism. So
Yeah.
there's always going to be somebody coming up. A great, one of the things I like about this is the lesson of double downing. Which is if you find something good, it's kind of like if you're gambling. And something's working, double down. That's how a lot of gamblers make money. It kind of goes with that concept. It reminds me of when I first got turned on to college rentals. I bought one and I showed the returns to a mentor of mine. He said, why don't you buy 10? And so I went out and I did. I bought 7 of them, all in like a 2-year period, all in the same college town. And rented them to students. And if you find something, guys, that it doesn't matter if it's in your real estate sales business and it's some marketing that you do or a new concept that you're trying or something that you're doing that is working so much more effectively than everything else. Double down, triple down, quadruple down on that. The old 80-20 principle, right? And that's essentially what you do. I mean, you could have certainly done a regular single-family house and rented it out to a family. You could have done many things with your money, but you found something and you found a niche that wasn't being taken. And then once you got it to work so fluently, or so, however you want to say it, work so well, you doubled down, tripled down, quadrupled down. So what's next for you, Tyler?
Well, what's next right now is, and I 100% agree, you got to double down. If it's working, you know what you're doing. And
if it's working, great.
Yes, right. And you're looking at the project. There's a lot that goes into it, obviously. But,
yeah,
I would say what's next right now is looking at some different kind of commercial, not multifamily residential. We're looking at commercial rent, some strip malls and everything, because, I've really been getting coached on that and been seeing different markets. And it's something I really want to touch. And another thing as well is that I had a big transition in the past probably 3 months where I'm looking at what I did in the past 2 years, all these buildings, it's just great. But I'm like, right now, I mean, I'm still only 21. I'm like, I went on a few trips and a few like masterminds. I'm in a lot of personal development groups, and I'm going out to like, Los Angeles, Mexico, Chicago. I'm really doing a lot. Miami. I'm traveling a lot. And I'm like, I should try something. I should really go out and do something. Try some new crazy venture. And if it fails, then I come back and do this. Really try something. I'm only 21. Because I'm at a point in my life where right now is the best time for me to go do something. I have a really solid.
What do you mean? What are you talking about? Try something.
I'm talking like buying a hotel, buying a bunch of land and doing development, Costa Rica, Mexico, somewhere down there. And I recently been talking to a lot of guys from here that are doing that down there. Some have been successful at it, some haven't, but that's something that I'm really seeing.
Or not. Or
Yeah.
just keep going with what you know here. I mean, you could lose it all in some little place in Mexico you know nothing about, right? I mean, like,
that's true, but it's boring. I get bored.
You're in control, yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes boredom is good if it's working. Keep doing the same thing. It's like Warren Buffett says, the best business is a boring business.
Yeah.
Because there's no squirrels to chase or look at, and it's like if it's bringing in money consistently, don't move towards something that's just a shiny red object. That's all. If it unless it's proven and you can feel good that you can do the same exact thing you've done here. I mean, I almost would say, if I were you, I would almost say where there's some more mines. Like that's probably what you ought to do.
So listen to this, though.
Like find more mines in Canada or elsewhere, and be the mine guy, right? Because that's what you know.
Well, that's the thing, but it's funny because in Saskatchewan here, it's such a big province and so much land, but there's only 1 million people in the whole province. Like the province itself is like massive. It's bigger than California, and there's only 1 million people in it. So in these areas, like these mining districts that I'm around, like the top mining districts in all of basically North America, I own 85% of the rental market, but it's such a small market where I can't expand much anymore. And all these other markets in Saskatchewan, there's nothing really.
Are there any more of these mines, even if they're a couple hours away?
No, there is, but there's already a market. Then they're too close to the bigger cities. And that's where in these bigger cities in Regina, they're like Regina and Saskatoon, they're the big cities. They're 200,000 people, and then 300 is the other one. And guys like me can't do any new developments, or it's really struggling because these bigger guys are bringing like massive amounts of money. Like they aren't getting returns till 15 years later on these deals, but they don't
forget
care
about that. So, that's silly. So I guess the question is, so how did you learn, right? You're selling cars, and obviously you learned that from washing them and stuff and being around the guys. But how did you learn real estate? And learn it enough so that you had the balls to basically, jump in head first and buy all these in a very short period of time,
Yeah. So, what I did is I found a real estate coach and mentor that had a course on buying multifamily apartment buildings. And it's a course and a coach from Saskatchewan, the same market I'm in. Because if I get coached by somebody down in Texas about buying this, it's totally irrelevant. I mean, the concept's similar, but the rules and law, everything's different.
I want you to think about the word toolbox. What is a toolbox? A toolbox is a box full of tools that you use to build something great. At Real Estate Rockstars, we've created our own free toolbox. So everybody that comes on the show as a guest brings a tool with them, and we plow them all into this toolbox, and we give it away for our viewing audience to basically use as they wish. Everything we put in there is an actionable item that can be downloaded, can be printed, can be used immediately. And we got things like scripts and dialogues, checklists for teams, checklists to keep agents accountable, referral forms that are filled out at settlement to get referrals by your buyers and sellers. Everything you can think of that you could use on a regular basis about real estate is included in this toolbox, and it's helping agents worldwide sell more houses and make their jobs a lot easier and processes much more efficient. And the thing is, it's absolutely free. All you got to do is go to hibandigital.com/toolbox or text the word toolbox to 444-999. That's toolbox 444-999. Do it now. Yeah, right.
So I get coached by her and take her program, and through that program, I also met other real estate entrepreneurs that are buying properties. So essentially, because I'm the type of guy, when I learn something, I was just talking to somebody about this actually this morning. When I learn something, I don't want you to hand me a book. I want to sit down with somebody that's done it and say, what exactly is step one, step two, every single step. What are the biggest mistakes? What are the biggest things to overcome? What should I be looking out for? Now I'm going to go and do it. And I'm going to call you.
Step-by-step process. Yeah.
And I have somebody to call and talk to, because that first deal, like, we learned so much and got so educated, read all the books, took the course, but then there's so much stuff that comes up that wasn't covered. So then I had somebody to call. I had a coach. I had a mentor. I had other connections to call where I would be freaking out about a problem. I'd call my coach or mentor, or I'd call one of the people in my group, and they'd be like just laughing at me. They're like, man, you're crying over that. Just like, that's the easiest thing. Here's what you got to do. So if I went in, there's a lot of people that, and I paid heavily. I probably, in the past 2.5 years, I paid $120,000 in coaching, mentoring, courses, and it's worth every single penny.
Yeah, well, you're on a fast track. I mean, you pay, it's about a college education's worth, but you think about it, but you're a real estate mogul. And that time and college education, you might just have a certificate, no job, and no passive income, and no investments, and no net worth.
Exactly. I love how you just put that.
Yeah.
There's so many people are like, what do you mean? And I'm, then I like, showing my net worth. It's funny because I showed my net worth the one time to somebody, and they're like, oh, now I see. I'm like, this is what I own. These are my shares. This is what's gonna be like. It's crazy, and it's funny though because so many people, they just think haven't done any education. I'm not educated, and I just went out and did this because I didn't go through the doors of a college or university. It's or I don't have a certificate that says congratulations.
Right. No, you've proven yourself in a very short period of time. So, all right, Tyler. So as you know, everybody that comes on Real Estate Rockstars brings with them a free gift, and it's a checklist. It's an item of utility. It's something they could use in their business, whether it's a real estate agent using it to get more deals or someone who might be interested in investing in real estate, which as real estate agents, I believe that we all should be investors. I've always invested in real estate pretty much from day one, above and beyond your primary residence, guys. You should try to walk your talk as much as possible, especially if you're working with investors and people that are buying second and third homes. So anyways, Tyler, what'd you bring for our listeners today?
So I brought a free 3 worksheets. So the worksheets I'll get attached in here. You guys can download. It's going to cover goal setting, what kind of obstacles you're facing and how to overcome them. And that's about it. It's really that expanded into 3 worksheets because I feel like a lot of people, when they're faced with obstacles or roadblocks, especially in real estate investing, they go back to trying to get more educated. When really they just need to focus on actually overcoming that problem and issue rather than, basically working through it rather than trying to avoid them because you're going to get faced with them anyway. So really these 3 worksheets will really solidify that for you and see what's really happening for you, what you need, a plan of action. And also the last one on there is about time management, because the biggest roadblock or obstacle a lot of people say is I don't have the time. So I do a couple of assignments in there. So there's 3 quick assignments. There's 1 pages. It's really just an eye opener and really it's a refreshment for each of your viewers.
Now, do you manage all these units yourself, or do you have someone managing it for you?
I did, and then I almost wanted to leave real estate.
Yeah, of course. That's a lot of work. Right?
Oh my God!
About time management, it made me think.
Yeah. So I know we got a property management crew now.
Okay, good. Well, good. Well, at least you got your feet wet doing it yourself. So, guys, I'm going to put all 3 of Tyler's documents for free up on hibandigital.com/Saskatchewan. Now, I'm just kidding. I won't mess with that with you. It'll be hibandigital.com/Tyler Hassman. It's HASSMAN. HASSMAN, Tyler Hassman. hibandigital.com/Tyler Hassman. And I also put it in the Agent Success Toolbox, which you guys can get by going to hibandigital.com/toolbox or texting the word toolbox to 444-999. Listen, my friend Tyler, if I'm ever in Saskatchewan, I will definitely look you up and we can take a tour of the mines and you can show me your properties and we'll break some bread.
That sounds good to me, Pat. Thanks so much for having me on.
All right, buddy. It's been a blast. Thank you so much for tuning in to Real Estate Rockstars. If this free content is giving you a ton of value, I want to ask a small favor in return. I need you to pull out your pointing finger and hit the subscribe button. Yes, hit subscribe, please. The more subscribers that we get on Real Estate Rockstars, the better guests are attracted to the shows. We'll get more guests from the top companies, from the top teams, and even more celebrity guests like Robert Kiyosaki and Barbara Corcoran. Also, if you're not a member of our free Facebook group, go to Real Estate Rockstars Radio right on Facebook and join the conversation. I'm on there myself on FaceTime Lives, and we have a lot of communications and questions about the show, and I'd love to see you there. And it's free. People ask me all the time, where am I on social media? I'm real easy to find. Just type in my name. My IG is I am Pat Hyben. It is blowing up on Instagram, adding tons of subscribers, and I'm on there probably twice a day. So definitely follow me on Instagram, as well as everywhere else. Thanks again for listening, and keep rocking.